I'm fine. My family goes on holiday in 5 days, and I'm going to be in by myself.
Very nice.
I've gotten over jet lag for moving to flying over to San Fran.
Where were you flying from exactly?
Sydney, Australia.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that Pacific flight. I've never experienced myself, but I've heard stories.
And I'm pretty good, just my girlfriend's getting drunk. So
Woo!
better keep an eye on her.
You need to record her telling jokes while drunk.
Well, she's not here right now, she's still at uni. But, you know. Just do the
she's
medium
getting
of
drunk.
Facebook.
She's getting drunk at uni. Is she graduating or something?
No, she's moving out tomorrow. Moving back home. Because the second year's finished.
Yeah, I forgot all the schools are now closing. It's like all the the sort of young schools and high schools are all closing on Wednesday. I should know because I'm volunteering at a breakfast club. Yeah, I'm volunteering at a breakfast club on Tuesday morning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's sort of local charity thing.
Yeah, I volunteered at a local school for like a week. I was a teaching assistant. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. This is like an organization I've at least been friendly with for several years now.
Nice.
Been using their services since I was like 7. So how are you guys getting on with that? Getting out of that contract? I know you said you were trying to get out of it.
That's a good question. We're still fighting it. Thing is that I think Thorn has a little better direct contact with the guy from the team at least the company want to join with. It's just trying to get conversed with him to be able to figure something out is something. I've been kind of reminding him I'm that steady jab with the fork on the side to get him to do it.
I keep pestering him, but he hasn't gotten back to me. It's like he told me that he was going to talk to the boss over at Screenwave, who should be in contact with the people over at Broadband. Could give me like a number or an email to talk with someone directly, but still nothing from that.
I suppose these things will just have to take time. Either that or you're just going to have to mass protest at them.
We'll just make videos just calling their company just like a garbage company. And
yes, because I'm sure calling them garbage will help you get a contract with them.
I mean, the company won't leave. The TheStrawhatNO is brought to you by Bullshit Corp. Bullshit Corp. Doing bullshit ever since we signed with them.
Bullshit Corp. You'll certainly feel all the bullshit we're giving you. Is E3 actually still going on, or is it actually closed? I never know the length of the damn E3.
I'm pretty sure it finished on the 17th.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Good. So when it comes to E3, I am one of the most cynical people about it. How many games did we see that didn't have gameplay in it? And how much of that gameplay was actually so just directed the guy playing it might as well have been using a conductor's pattern?
Yeah, it's a little that way, isn't it?
Yes. The only natural gameplay I saw actually at E3 was No Man's Sky. And that's because the guy just seemed genuinely disinterested in playing it.
Always a good sign.
Oh, yeah, whatever. It's a game. And then continuing on. I actually rewatched the Sony E3 segment, and I just realized what the Shenmue thing was about. A Kickstarter? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were pretty smart to do it that way, too.
It's the way
they advertised the game without having to pay a cent.
And it's breaking all sorts of records.
Exactly.
Well, the point being that from what I read, the original Shenmue games cost a butt ton to actually just make, and it'll probably be more than what they'll be able to get from the Kickstarter. So you got to assume that Sony's actually financing the majority of this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can figure that at least especially I remember when Shenmue came out. At the time, it was like the best looking thing by far. Like it was way ahead of the curve at that point. So I could definitely imagine it being really high priced to make that kind of game back then for sure.
I mean, compare that to like the original Resident Evil. I mean, it's just worlds apart, just the graphics.
Ouch! Yeah, and they came around at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, that was the Dreamcast too. I mean, as much as people make fun of the Dreamcast now because it died, it was pretty ahead of the curve at the point. I remember when I was reading magazines about it back when it was about to come out, and they're like, "You and your Nintendo 64, but with its only 64-bit graphics. Look at the check out our new Dreamcast at 128 points of graphics. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Look at these models." And it was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. Look at this controller. I don't want it.
I never actually remember the Dreamcast controls. I used to own one, but it's somewhere up in the so,
Problem is that, like, on top of the controller being super clunky, that, like, one of the use of the controllers, you had to buy this, like, screen you had to put into it, but you had to buy it separately. So it was really stupid.
Yeah.
what you mean, paying for things and then being forced to buy other things to make it work? Sounds like a modern analogy.
Yeah, see, that was the idea. It was a more modern console, but at the wrong time. See, if they had done it later and done all this optional extra stuff that you actually have to buy, then they would have survived.
I mean, look at the Game Boy Color. Jeez, the amount of additions you got in that was insane. Game Boy printer, Game Boy camera.
Mine had the two big side speakers and the lit screen because you had to get it at the right sun's angle at noon to be able to see the display on those things.
Yeah.
Oh crap, I forgot to watch Ubisoft's one.
It's Ubisoft. You can probably assume what they put out.
What, another Just Dance game?
Yes, another Just Dance game, another freaking Assassin's Creed game, another whatever. Ubisoft is just a terrible yeah.
Let's see, Just Dance 2016, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Actually, let me.
And
Assassin-
Anno 22.5.
Or also known as Assassin's Creed. Alright, Gov.
Oh dear.
Special Londoner edition. You just get, broken glass.
Oh
No
god,
games,
so we're
just
going,
broken glass.
we're going to be assassinated by Cockney accents all over the place now.
Yep.
Every woman sounds like a Monty Python character in it.
You're
trying to assassinate me, Dan? Hello?
Oh, look at him with his hair on his beard. If he wore a head round here, I'll bash your face in.
So the beggars are now been replaced by people constantly going, "Shine your shoes, governor."
No, go shine your shoes.
You're just walking through the streets and, like, you know how you usually be harassed by some person? You're getting harassed by the Cockney woman. Are you gonna ignore me, you cunt?
Guarantee now that as soon as someone can mod that game, there's going to be modding in. It's just basically going to be Monty Python voices now.
And Monty Python characters.
Yeah. Just walking down the street and you'll just hear, did you find him a sucker? Because he's a very naughty boy.
I hope there's situations where there's the stereotypical English gentleman just with a curled mustache and named like McGonagall or something like that, or
And if you
Reginald.
If you hit off his top hat, then he just surrenders immediately.
He challenges you to fisticuffs.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of something. It's a total missed opportunity they've done so far with the Fallout. You know how in Elder Scrolls, I think it was Skyrim, they had the Zoidberg mud crabs?
Yeah.
They need to do that in Fallout with rat scorpions.
I say, good sir, can I sting you?
I'm larger than my brethren.
I'm not looking forward to this Fallout game, mainly because of the voice protagonist.
I'm not looking forward to it because my life is going to be taken away.
Mm.
I'll look forward to it in about 6 or 7 years when it's like 75% off in the Steam Summer Sale, which is now actually onto the Encore Day.
Who's
So if
the
you're
voice?
looking
Is it Troy Baker again?
It probably is.
Everything is Troy Baker. If it's not Noel North.
Pretty
Yes,
much.
And if it's a woman, it's always Jennifer Hale.
Funnily enough, that is the case with Scribblenauts Unlimited.
Yep.
Don't you mean Cthulhu Summoning Simulator 2017?
That too.
That is what I basically beat that entire game just by summoning Cthulhu. Up to the point where it's like, you must not kill anything in this area. Bugger off, I want to summon Cthulhu and kill everything.
You just summon him and tell him not to kill anybody. And he's just like,
Yep.
oh.
No, friendly Cthulhu. You can actually put the syntax friendly, and it will be a friendly Cthulhu.
Let me give you a hug.
It'd make you insane when you look at me.
I guess your insight's up now.
At this point, it's just friend Thulu.
I give Madman's insight to everyone. I'm causing that vortex. Ha ha ha. Seriously, I have no idea what's causing that vortex.
Are there any games announced at E3 that you guys are actually looking forward to?
Yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of ones that's like, oh, I hate that.
I do.
I'm going to still pan it simply because it's a CGI trailer, but I played the original game, loved it, did it nearly stealth aside from Lady Boyle's party mission, which is an absolute pain in the ass, because it's social stealth and not actual stealth. Oh, I hate that mission so much.
Which
But
game
yeah.
was this?
Dishonored, and I'm looking forward to Dishonored 2. But
Indeed.
I'm panning it. I'm panning it because it's a CGI trailer.
As you should.
Keep in mind, like, the ones they're showing in public aren't necessarily, like, everything they have. So, like, Dark Souls 3, for example, they've been showing cinematic trailers, but apparently behind closed doors, they actually had a gameplay, about 20 minutes of gameplay that was being narrated by Miyazaki. He was actually telling his motivations, everything. It's going to be really good.
Yeah, I saw VodiVidya did a bit about that.
Yeah.
It's a Souls game. Right now, From Software Souls game are essentially the equivalent of crack cocaine.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But what's
Highly-
nice about this one is that, like, a lot of people gave issues to Dark Souls 2 just because it seemed to kind of be way different than formulaically what has been in the past. But apparently, they've been working on Dark Souls 3 before they even started working on Dark Souls 2, and Miyazaki's been primarily working on that. So it's gonna look better. It's gonna probably run way better. And apparently, there's like different weapon styles, and it actually kind of follows in story with Dark Souls 1. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I heard, that the weapon, like each individual sort of weapon, I think it's either weapon class or weapon, basically has a unique fighting style. So it's no longer just hack, defend, dodge. It's, an axe is going to be heavier swings and not easily to block with. Your sort of cane thing from Bloodborne's probably going to be in there at one point.
Well, they also talked about how, like, for example, if you picked up a short sword, you can always have a simple short sword combination, but you could press a button and kind of go into a different style of short sword fighting, where it's like more elegant and a little bit more dance-like. So, like, there's like you can kind of pick and design your character a little bit more in depth.
So you're not just focusing on, the axe that scales insanely well like it does in Bloodborne.
The thing I hope they fix, and Bloodborne is kind of a main reason, it's probably one of the things that makes me mad about it, is that because it's, there's always that hidden thing dealing with pretty much knockback of those weapons and, messing with poise. And it's gone to the point where that axe is so strong that, like, no one picks any other weapons in that game. Like, there's no imagination to that. For PvE, it's like the axe is pretty much it.
Yeah, there's no variation in the builds.
Yeah.
Just because of that axe. I expect if they patch it, it's going to receive like a huge damage nerf or something.
Well, like, one thing I kind of liked about, the look of Dark Souls is that you wouldn't always... The thing is, there's not very likely you'd run into the same character twice.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very easy to do that in Bloodborne. Because there's not that many outfits and there's not that many weapons.
Yeah.
Well, that's... I suppose the problem with the sort of clothing is the sort of period and area that China chose, because it's a Victorian London sort of area. You're not exactly going to get much variation in clothing at that time. It's either tricorn or top hat, either a hood and some sort of fancy jacket. It's not exactly variant, and because it's a dark game, you can't exactly have like bright green. So the minimal variation, it comes to basically just the same person over and over and over again.
I would like to see a Bright Souls game, though. Just everything pastel.
They call it Bright Souls because Dark Souls kind of ruins the point. It's cel-shaded, looks kind of like Wind Waker.
That's an idea.
Miyazaki did mention in the meeting that Dark Souls 3 is going to be a turning point in the series, and I don't know if that meant there was going to be more specifically Dark Souls games or just games with something Souls, like Demon Souls. But he did mention From has done mech games, it did ninja games. That would be interesting to see a Ninja Souls or something.
I like to see mech Souls, where you're just a giant mech in a giant mech city.
No, they just make a game called Darker Souls. Everything's just even so dark that you actually constantly have to use a flashlight so you can see anything.
You see the boss that says contrast, and you see the health bar appear.
Darker Souls. We've made everything so dark that you actually have to turn your monitor up to full.
Alone in the Dark Souls.
Or just someone just tells you very dark information, that's the boss, where it's just like, by the way, 7,200 people die of AIDS every day. Wow.
Stab, stab, stab.
Stab, stab, stab.
Just call that boss depressing factoid. They'll depress you by just sending you BuzzFeed links.
So the future of the industry is bright, obviously.
Yes, always bright from the From Software.
And the best part about that game would be even more influenced by Berserk.
Yes. Still trying to get you to read it.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you haven't convinced me of it. It's just I haven't done it.
Yeah, exactly. I even got Olivia to read like half of it. Well, not even half, like a good chunk of it. Like, you like dark shit, right? Read this.
I really should read this, but I can't be bothered.
But Story of Seasons.
I'd rather farm.
You sound like an MMO player. Oh, we've got this wonderful story content. I'd rather farm.
Well, that was before Story of Seasons.
Yes.
Final Fantasy XIV.
Sometimes I have to question Thorne's taste because the first thing he shows me is Bomberman, which I don't understand the appeal of at all. And then he's like, you know what also did? A lot of farming. I'm like, what the hell, man?
So we've got bombs and farming.
Well, maybe I grew up in a not prejudiced way.
Well, you see, the Hellman is not.
So we've got bombs, farming, and then rolling into staircases and walls.
Well, at least people agree with me on the last one.
Yes, because you can't exactly avoid walls at some point in Legend of Zelda.
You know what makes me really happy they showed at E3? Gang Beasts going to be on the PS4. Yeah!
What's that one about?
It's by Double Fine. You play as it's kind of a physics-based game where you have just 4 players and you try to be the last man standing. It's a really simple concept, but I've seen people play it as a group and it's just like the most fun thing ever. It's simplicity at its finest. Also, just because I'm a super fanboy of the series, I'm really looking forward to Fire Emblem Fates.
Oh, me too. I'm so sad they didn't show more of it, but they were too busy squealing about Mario and Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem.
Well, then I've read a lot of information they put out kind of on the side where it's talking about the different classes. Like, there's classes that have never existed in Fire Emblem ever. Like, mainly just from the side of like the White Clan, the Japanese kind of side, where there's like an Oni and there's like people that can transform to wolves and foxes and like.
Well, the transforming one's not exactly that new. They've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah, but the thing is, like on the old ones, like even back then, like they'd have transformation classes, but the classes themselves couldn't transform other than getting like more powerful stones. These ones, they actually do. You can actually change classes of transformation type.
Okay, so it's going with the more recent styles of transformation in the Tellius universe.
Right. And also, like, I like how there's classes of those particular clans that you can't get in the other one. So there's a reason to play one clan versus the other and then try it the other way, because like if you play as the samurais, you don't get knights. But if you play as the knight group, you don't get ninjas, and you're like, there's like nice things on both.
Well, standardly, the Japanese were never really used for. You had a very decent cavalry set, so it is kind of historically accurate. I've never actually played a Fire Emblem game myself. I had a choice when I was younger to pick either Fire Emblem or Onimusha Tactics, and I picked Onimusha Tactics.
See, like, I always I never really got into Onimusha series just because I never had I wasn't the PlayStation kid, but I always kind of saw it as interesting.
I never actually got it on the PlayStation. I just bought it on, I think it was either my Game Boy Advance or my Game Boy Advance SD, and I finished it at least 3 times using basically the same characters. mainly because the rest of them were just so bad and had such really bad stats and growth stats. And essentially, by the end of it, you got a sword for the main character who basically incinerated and, cut down about 90% of the enemies by the end of the game.
Also, I know the world's excited about the series, but I'm not super excited about Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy VII. It had never been my thing.
Don't let my sisters hear you telling about Kingdom Hearts. They will garrote you and kill you.
No, I've even told people, I played both 1 and 2. I still don't understand the appeal. Well, no, I know what the appeal is. I just don't find it appealing myself. Because people are playing them because, oh boy, I love Disney and I love Final Fantasy characters and they're cool when they're together. I'm just like, story's kind of bad.
The story is the dumbest shit.
It's really the dumbest thing.
That's pretty much why I've never played it, because the story is just what
and the characters are stupid. There's no developmental to them at all. Everyone's freaking out about Organization 13, and all of them just I have a catchphrase. I'm gonna die now.
I have a catchphrase. I can hide behind this playing card.
And when you fight, it's so quick and light explodey that you can't even tell what the hell you're doing most of the time. You're just mashing buttons and things are happening.
Trying to use magic and heal yourself is a pain in the ass unless you bind it to quick bar.
Yep. Even then, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're fighting someone like Sephiroth who has stupid range and speed. It's I'm gonna heal myself. Oh, I can't even heal myself fast enough. Okay.
I tried beating him about 3 or 4 times, and about 3 hours into the fight, yes, 3 hours is how I spent on this, I still just could not beat him. I had a max level character and max level weaponry, and I still couldn't beat him. And that was on normal.
Also, it's kind of hilarious to watch everyone freaking out about Metroid Prime Federation Force. I find it kind of amusing.
I find it kind of. I didn't really see that. Well, the one I saw was Triforce Heroes, and it's just what have you done to Purple? I've already seen web comments. It's new co-op Zelda game, except there's only 3 people, and then just everyone just jumps onto Purple and kicks him out. Why 3 players? Why 3?
Because it's the 3DS.
Because he was a traitor in the comic.
It's the 3DS and there's a Triforce, and there you go.
Well, as I said before, they just fired Purple Link.
Well, didn't you say he was already in Smash Brothers, so they've just kicked him out of that series and just left him as a costume?
You end up getting a patch later where they actually remove it from Smash. We just don't want to talk about him.
Due to recent news and incidents, Purple Link has now been removed and redistanced himself from Nintendo.
He has moved to Sony.
There isn't a replaceable alt costume, it's just 7 costumes.
Purple Link is no longer working with Nintendo, so we're going to take him out of development for Metal Gear Solid 5.
Link's nuclear.
Plot twist, Metal Gear Solid 6 comes out and Purple Link's the antagonist.
Now you're just switching between the different kind of character designs, and it's just okay, green Link, blue Link, red Link, Pinata.
Link.
I'd play as Pinata Link.
You hit him in health for items drop out of him.
But then you lose because you killed him.
The thing is, the problem with, if you've ever dealt with a pinata is that they're very hard to break, so, he would be indestructible pretty much.
Or part of the cunning plan. Yeah, I do think that's good. They're basically making it a lot less. So one of you point up the term co-optional when we're talking about it, and it's a lot less that way now since you actually share a health bar rather than having your own, so you can't just kill your friends for rupees anymore.
Yeah.
It also means that damage is basically tripled if all of you get hit.
No, I think they're just going to the new Super Mario Brothers rule where it's if you play co-op, you're going to end up hating your friends, and that's going to be kind of the thing with this game.
So it's already like how it was before.
Exactly.
Nothing changes, except there's only 3 friends now.
I think it's fun to just mess with people and playing New Super Mario World, just or 3D World, where you're just fucking with people or throwing them off of cliffs and shit like that.
Hence why it's called a co-optional game.
Yep.
Then again, New Super Mario Brothers is not a co-op game. It's a freaking competitive game from what I've seen.
You know what stupid game I'm really looking forward to? Persona 4 Dancing All Night.
Oh God.
Uh,
I want to dance, damn it. I've always said I've been kind of a sucker for rhythm games, and I like Persona, so... Well, Persona 5 I'm definitely looking forward to more, but I know Persona 4 is coming out soon, and I have a Vita. I'm one of the few people that do.
Next thing you know, it will be Persona 4, beach volleyball, and go the way of Dead or Alive.
Can't wait to see Teddy in a bikini.
With individual breast physics.
I now have that stuck in my head. Well done.
God damn it, tits do not work that way.
thank you for this.
Individual breast physics, but only on the men.
No, on kanji, just individual ball physics.
Oh, God.
with a little slider that has with the lower limit is British soldier and the max is forget physics. You turn around and suddenly they're just swinging around like circles and going into their own geostationary orbit around her.
Travis, I blame you for this.
Now, I just imagine shots like they had in beach volleyball, where it's like Teddy in a bikini riding on top of a palm tree.
What?
You brought this on yourself.
I will have vengeance.
He's gonna come to you and he's actually going to take those brain cells back with a spoon.
See, the only other equivalent horror I could inflict would require you to have played Banjo-Tooie for the 64.
I did play Banjo-Tooie for the 64.
You remember
the initialized?
the polar bear mother had jiggle physics.
She didn't.
She did.
I remember that.
Perfectly legitimate in a kid's game.
Rare really just wanted to go all out, I guess.
I think I'm going to need more than one bottle of cider to get this out of my mind.
The Super Mario 64 piano in a bikini.
That doesn't even
You just hear like this, shows on the beach just burn.
But it's slow mo,
Yeah, running across the shore.
like in Baywatch.
Yep. Burn.
Help! I'm drowning.
Instead of the Baywatch theme tune, it's that one song from the room with the roundabout.
But played slow and sexy like Baywatch.
Play with the saxophone.
Super Mario 64 Beach Volleyball, guest starring the piano in a bikini.
There you go.
If anyone has Photoshop, please just make it happen.
We would all appreciate that.
Eventually.
When he's drunk enough.
We will also fund your therapist.
Well, after that bit of horror, I guess one of the things I was excited for, I'm a bit biased on because I've been waiting for a new game for years, was the reboot to the Star Fox franchise, Star Fox Zero. It actually looks like it's actually looking interestingly well designed.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think, as you know, what's more interesting about that is the Star Fox puppets they made. Jim Henson's team made that.
Wow. Oh yeah, I can see that.
I have to admit, I didn't see that coming.
They certainly surprised everyone by the Jim Henson puppets.
I really wanted Shigeru Miyamoto puppet and just do finger guns on the camera. Go to like drive-thrus and finger gun at them. And
Well, at least I know if anything goes weird in Star Fox Zero, we can just blame Shigeru for it, since it's his baby.
Quite frankly, if anything goes weird in any sort of Nintendo product, you can probably blame Shigeru Miyamoto.
That's true. He probably was responsible at some point.
I like that in the trailer the R-Wing transformed into a walker. Like that was actually something in Star Fox 2, that the game that got canceled. I like that they're bringing that back.
That's what they were saying. They were bringing it back because it was in Star Fox 2, but they were never able to use it. There was a talk on the dev feed about it. And it's not like just a temporary thing. It's an active transformation mechanic you can use. You can basically freely transform between the flying R-Wing and the walker R-Wing.
Wasn't there something like that in Star Fox?
even in space.
Okay, probably not in space.
Land speeder! Flies into the sun.
You try and transform, and it's dream sequence, and you just see the walker, just the weight of their feet going forwards and backwards, just doing nothing, just flying through space. and then just the line comes on the screen. Do a barrel roll.
Escape pod, walker, shit.
But yeah, they were talking about it when they started Nintendo, saying their entire obsession is going to be the whole transformation thing throughout a couple of games. So the R-Wing actively transforms into the Walker, the Landmaster transforms into some sort of hover ship with a laser gun. Like
Link turns into someone who can actually emote.
yes.
So Wind Waker Link.
Yes, Link can now actually speak. Link turns to someone who can talk. No. Other than that, it just seems to be taking a lot more. They still have a lot of on-rail stuff, but there seems to be a bit more sort of in 64 it was known as all-range mode, but the whole concept of more free-form movement, because all dogfighting is going to be free-form movement now.
Which is a logical progression, I think.
Yeah, they're talking about a bit on when they did the Treehouse episode on it, that you can actually now you've got two screens now, so the Wii. What do you call the Wii U thing? A tablet?
I think it's just called the Wii U gamepad.
The
That's
Wii
what
U,
they usually call
the
it.
Wii U weapon of mass destruction is your cockpit view, while the on-screen is your third person view. So you can actually actively look between the two without having to manually switch in the game. Other than that, I think the downside is that it's using gyroscope movement.
Oh, no,
For the controls, and I am hoping that is optional and not mandatory, because that's going to be a pain. It's likely to be optional though, because no one liked gyroscopic movement in the 3DS game.
Any sort of gyroscopic movement would probably be better in a freaking simulator for flight than a Star Fox game.
Agreed. The upside is, however, you can actually now fire directly up or down rather than having to face at least moving somewhat forward, as if Fox really is on a set of rails. The O-Wings aren't actually flying through space, they're just on these invisible rails.
Plot twist, it's not actually a Star Fox game, it's now Housing of the Dead game. Housing of the Dead, Star Fox edition.
Naturally.
I'm wondering like how the transformation with the little Rob buddy that you drive along the ground how that's gonna control.
I'm not sure, but apparently they're taking the controls for the little Rob buddy thing back straight from the 64 on foot multiplayer stuff, or something like that. I remember he compared it to an earlier on foot movement mechanic.
I don't recall that control being good though.
I don't remember using it because I never got all the medals in hard mode. I wasn't very good at Star Fox 64.
I used to be good.
I just remember playing the multiplayer at a friend's house, and I was just terrible at it.
But yeah, for the most part, it's not going to be used very often. It's more of an optional utility. A lot of times, it's going to be just an optional utility thing, so you can get extra stuff. They're doing more hiding stuff in plain sight, sort of thing, that you can unlock.
The lazy man's way.
Yeah, basically what they did in Star Fox Assault, except without all the other annoying stuff of Star Fox Assault.
Yeah.
Oh, to be honest, sorry, you go.
I think one of the weird things is they never announced it was actually being developed by Platinum during the conference itself, and we basically had to figure that out afterwards, but you'd think that's kind of a big deal, because Platinum Games are a hot property right now, and that might, draw more people in.
They did mention something of it, but they only mentioned it in part. They didn't mention it quite in passing, but they didn't say a lot about it. I do remember they brought it up, though. But I think it was during the behind-the-scenes dev talk. Which I think you tuned out around that time.
Probably did, yeah.
I think everybody did as soon as that freaking musical thing came on.
No, it was before then.
Was it before that? Oh.
But they did the dev thing right after the trailer for Star Fox Zero. The proper trailer, not the other trailer.
Are you sure Platinum is a hot property right now? I thought they were the company whose games everyone likes but nobody buys.
Well, they've got like 5 projects on the go now, so they seem to be. I suppose in sales, it's not like it's not like Call of Duty kind of sales, but it's doing pretty well. and they've got these pretty sweet gigs going on now. I think they've got a console exclusive for every console now. Because I think they got Scalebound on the Xbox 360, which we didn't hear anything about. I don't think Xbox One. Sorry, we got Nier 2, which I think is PS4 exclusive, and obviously Star Fox is going to be Wii U.
Yeah.
And then what was the other ones they were doing? Oh, they got that Transformers one.
Scalebound.
Shit, yeah. And what else? Oh, there was another one. I'm sure there was.
Yeah, Transformers 1 isn't an exclusive, though.
Mm.
I'd say they've done a couple of Nintendo exclusives, but that's really not saying much since Nintendo loves exclusives.
Yeah, like Bayonetta 2.
That essentially could sum up the entirety of this E3. This is exclusive on ... Because every single one of them just said we had this exclusive, we have that exclusive, this exclusive beta. I think Sony were worse for it from what I saw. It's like exclusive content which is not available on any other platform, which is essentially saying, yeah, if you buy this on any other console, you're losing out.
Yep.
Which is bad. It's honestly pretty bad for everyone.
I have to admit, of all the conferences, I think Microsoft's was the worst. I practically fell asleep. They focused so much on quantity, not really on quality, honestly.
That, and they brought out the guy who made DayZ, who we all know is not exactly a good person to rely on.
And that Rareware representative was awful. He was so arrogant about it. I'm left thinking, you're from Rare. You really have no reason to have any pride in yourself.
Well, that and the fact that they advertised 10,000 gamer score in the actual trailer.
Oh,
like
God.
That's, actually going to give you anything.
Yippee for you.
Yay, street cred.
Yay, EP.
Exactly.
And now we've got yet another Mario Party remake, Animal Crossing.
Yes,
Amiibo Festival, which is actually more Sonic Shuffle than Mario Party. And I can't believe I actually know that.
The fact that you know it's a Sonic game is something you should be embarrassed about.
I watched a Let's Play of it, that's my excuse. I watched a Let's Play of a bunch of guys who were doing all these Mario Party. I watched someone playing a bunch of Mario Party games, and then they did Sonic Shuffle as one of them.
The fact that you watched it is embarrassing enough.
It was hilarious.
Hilariously bad?
Yes. Besides, don't you know, the best way to break up with your family and friends is to play Mario Party with them.
No, the best way to pick up with your family and friends is to play Dota with them. You'll lose them after like 3 games. Instead of having to waste the whole evening.
Yeah, that actually sounds about right. Either works.
Yep. One of the most toxic online communities I have ever known is Dota. Yes. Jesus fucking Christ.
I know. To jump off from Yuffie for a minute, they actually released the Source 2 version of Dota 2 as a beta, like 3 days ago, with the custom game modes that everyone's been asking for like a year and a half now. Which is amazing, because Valve also made which is basically a team deathmatch and deathmatch mode for the custom game modes. And it's fun. It's very fun. But the actual, community is still a complete piece of shit.
Yeah. I think I'll just stick to Hearthstone, thanks.
Yeah. Why don't you just move on to the Elder Scrolls one? That Elder Scrolls CCG.
Nah.
There wasn't really just a standout thing, other than perhaps Battlefront. Battlefront and Fallout 4 were the only 2 majorly hyped games before E3, from what I heard. Fallout 4 for good reason. That's been rumored to been going around for several years now.
Well, there was Dark Souls 3 as well, but that was just leaked, not like.
Well, that was a leak, and we had, other than that leak, we had near enough little to no idea that was going to be announced.
Yeah.
Although the actual Star Wars: The Old Republic expansion was leaked about a day before the announcement, and it had more information on the actual leak than it did on the actual announcement. I know some of the details. I'm not sure if I want to be putting it out on this podcast though, because I don't know if there might be some repercussions. So I'm probably not going to.
Fair enough.
But let's just say it's going to be dramatically shaking up the PvE. From what I've read, and it's going to give a lot of the players, like for example, what I'm playing right now, is going to be giving a lot of us what we actually wanted. Only about 3 or 4 years after it launched.
Hey.
You know how people were briefly excited that there was a new Guitar Hero coming out?
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Apparently, and I'm looking at the track list, and I'm like, they're repeating the exact crap that got people sick of Guitar Hero in the first place. I'm looking at all of these. The first 20 bands I'm seeing here are shitty modern bands that barely use guitar in the first place. I see Skrillex on the track list.
What?
God.
You can't do Skrillex on guitar.
Yes, you
Apparently
can.
you can.
There's Ed Sheeran. Like, Ed Sheeran, at least, yeah, he uses guitar, barely uses it on the song that's in the game.
You can do Skrillex on a guitar. All you have to do is just hit one long note and just hit the whammy bar for about 7 years.
But the important question is, do they have Dragon Force?
Probably not.
Well, this is just the initial track list I'm seeing.
Oh, God, they got to have Dragon Force in there, at least one song.
I'm just wondering if they're going to put in another Muse song, since they put the lead singer and pianist and the, what was it, 4 they put him on? And they still kind of look like terrible because for some reason Guitar Hero graphics just look awful. I used to be so good at Guitar Hero, sadly. I could basically play the bass sections on, most of the bass sections on Expert, and get the actual guitar parts on, like, Hard, which shows how sad I am when it comes to that game. I used to be able to play it that well. Like, some of the stuff like Raining Blood, no way in hell can I play that. That's broken fingers right there.
I saw a young kid. I don't know where this was. This might have been outside of a concert or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he was playing Through the Fire and the Flames on Expert and doing pretty bomb at it, so.
Oh,
That-
what a shocker. Painted Black's in there. What a shock. It's only been in every other Guitar Hero ever.
I've also been noticing that's being used by a certain other franchise to advertise. I.e., every time I go on Twitch with my freaking tablet, all I get is the freaking Call of Duty and Paint It Black song. I'm just like, please shut up. I'm not interested.
Mm.
So is any other games that anyone else thought was, either a shock to them or something that looked interesting to them?
I'm still hyped about Phantom Pain.
I like Street Fighter, so Street Fighter 5 is going to be pretty good, I hope. It's nice to see Birdie coming back.
I can't hear that name, no matter who that might be, and take it seriously.
Nor can I.
Yeah.
I blame watching you guys play Jetters.
Perhaps a heart attack would be most effective. Oh god, no Birdie DLC
For
for
the most
Street
part,
Fighter
there weren't
5.
really that many. For that part, there weren't really that many standouts for the most part, except for stuff that people were already waiting for before the conference anyway.
Essentially Fallout 4 and Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Fox Zero is going to get a lot of excitement from its fan base, which it still has.
Oh, The Last Guardian.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that one looked interesting.
After
Wow,
all the
that's
rumors
not
that it had been
dead.
cancelled. It looks as good as the Shadow of the Colossus, probably a lot better from what but then again, I never played Shadow of the Colossus, so.
And Travis seems to have disappeared. And he would have been ideal to talk about this.
All that he left behind was a bald man scared out of his wits. We ought to remember him fondly. We can always put Last Guardian on hold and wait till he gets back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping us coming back to it.
Anyone pick anything up? Any nice deals up on the Steam Summer sale? I know you did, Thorn, because I've got you on my friends list, and just like, Thorn has purchased a ton.
20 to 50 new games.
Jesus. I've not bought anything yet.
Oh, I've bought about £70 worth of games so far.
I've just been buying Hearthstone packs.
I bought the entirety of just yesterday. What game was it? Tropical 5. Just because it's like I was looking at that game even before it launched. Thought it looked alright, then realised they were going to DLC the hell out of it, just like they did with Tropical 4. But it was a decent price up until the last DLC, which wasn't discounted, but I bought it anyway. The Steam Summer Sale is just a wondrous event half the time. It's a wallet-killing event.
I believe that was the idea.
It worked. Let's see, what did I all buy? Bought Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Mm-hmm.
Binding of Isaac, played that on the stream yesterday.
Yay!
Yeah, I played that with Gaz, and I actually beat a run of it on just the second try, which is apparently a good thing to do.
Yeah, because you got technology, which is like one of the best items in the game. That kind of helped.
And my stupid ass somehow didn't record it, so only the people who were there know it happened.
Yeah. Did you record Scribble Notes though?
Only like 15 minutes. I think it was because when I was playing Scribble Nuts, I briefly lost the connection, and then that must have stopped the recording as well.
Oh shit. Shit, yeah, I remember when that happened. Yeah.
When it comes to Binding of Isaac, I honestly just cannot stomach it, simply because of the visual design. It literally, if I watch it, it makes me feel sick.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, me too.
That's a reaction I've never heard before.
Well, if you think about it, it's skulls and feces and poop and everything, and just it's sickening, kind of. Like, and I played like stuff like Unreal Tournament and like really, really gory games, and it's the Binding of Isaac that makes me feel sick. Possibly because I know it's a child, and when it comes to that sort of stuff, you know how it is. It's becomes a little bit iffy.
Yeah, it's a pretty dark game. And there is so much stuff about, child abuse and all that stuff. It's just like, whoa.
Does anyone play Dragon Age Origins?
I tried. I just could not get into it. I just seem to not be able to get into any sort of modern BioWare RPGs other than Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's the only one I've really gotten into. I cannot play Mass Effect simply because the entire thing bores me to death. To the dismay of my sister and my dad, who absolutely love the game. I just cannot play it. It just bores me, and I did try to do the same. Dragon Age, could not get into it. Yeah, I get into the D&D, like Baldur's Gate, right at the 90s. I can get into that. Possibly because it's insanely difficult, but hey.
Yeah, but I think you can track where BioWare started dipping because they made Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, which was the game that kind of set them on the downward spiral. Before that, they were untouchable, but when they made that, oh boy, was it terrible.
We try to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, it was a proper shit show.
Well, is it really BioWare's fault, or is it just the fact that it's a curse of Sonic games and everything after the 90s sort of Sonic sucks hell?
Yeah, I think it was probably just like a B team making it or something, because they didn't even have proper music. They literally just like ported some MIDIs over and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was they had a handheld team up until then, so that was their first project and probably their last.
Yeah, because it was dreadful. Oh my god.
They probably pulled some of that team onto some of the less interesting Star Wars: The Old Republic stories. Because my god, some of them just like are boring as all heck.
I think that's the team that wrote the ending to Mass Effect 3.
Oh yes, certainly. The original ending.
Also got Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh, that was a good game.
That's a fun game. You really want to try and play it with a controller, though, not the computer, not the keyboard.
A lot of people just hate on it simply because the antagonist is an anthropomorphic animal.
Right,
I'm biased on that account, obviously. So, but no, it's actually a decently fun game. It's surprisingly addictive, given that it's basically just a button masher most of the time.
Considering one guy made it, it's a very impressive project.
I know.
Like the man should be certainly been rewarded for his efforts when he made that game.
I rebought Morrowind, but I think the only reason I did that is so that I could combine it with Oblivion.
Yeah.
Which I had already done, but it was with a torrented copy of Morrowind. I had bought it before, but I sold it forever. And if you try to do more Oblivion with a pirated copy of Morrowind, it crashes constantly.
So it's a standard feature of every Elder Scrolls game. Just crashes randomly.
Yeah, but especially badly.
Yep.
Well, you know the stance in any sort of Bethesda game: mod it till it crashes.
Mod it till it stops crashing is the other option you take.
Yeah, let's hope they actually beta test Fallout 4 before they release it, eh?
That would be a great way to market it. We actually tested it before we sold it.
Fallout 4 now with 99% less breaking glitches.
Fallout 4 now comes with anti-bug spray. Doesn't actually work in the game, but hey.
That'd actually be kind of funny if there was an in-game option to turn off and on all the really weird bugs and glitches.
This is one thing I wonder. Like, a lot of developers know about stuff like the speedrunner community who just use a ton of glitches and stuff. Yeah, I don't see like any sort of options in game for that sort of community. I mean, speedrunners are huge. I mean, especially if I don't know if you've ever seen like Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick.
Absolutely.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the stuff they pull there is it's insane. Like I watched the the glitch that you showed off during I think it was one of the playlists that you have on your channel where it's like things we shouldn't do with Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah.
And then you had the one Skyward Sword one. I've actually seen someone on AGDQ actually pull that off and then finish it in about 7 minutes. It's
Jeez.
insane. Like, and he had basically how that works is it's all the data in save file 3. So you basically have everything you want, every sort of weapon you want, drink an invulnerability potion, drink a super stamina potion, save it, and then glitch on hero mode in the first sort of slot. And then you do the glitch that's showed on that video, and you appear back in sort of Sky Place with about 6 hearts, infinite health, infinite stamina, and you can basically go kill Demise. It's insane how this sort of thing works, and no developer really does anything for them. Like I haven't seen sort of like a speed running sort of thing where you can get older versions of the game for a certain glitch.
No, developers seem to be more focusing on the Let's Play community rather than the speedrunner community.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for the biggest demographic. That's really the thought there.
Yeah, I was at a conference about last week, and it actually came up that one of the ways they can actually get to advertising their games is using Let's Players to do it.
Which is logical considering how big some of these YouTube channels are.
Exactly.
I would think you would have to be careful who you give that to, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a couple of names were dropped, but that's about all they really talked on it.
Yeah, I think we kind of know who we're referring to here.
We can at least take an educated guess at which certain factions of the Let's Play community would get that sort of stuff.
If anything, who would be respectful of it?
Yes.
And not just show everything first day, so there's no purpose to go out and buy it.
Yeah.
Let's see, have any of you guys played Lords of the Fallen?
No.
I saw a couple of reviews of it. From what I understand, Lords of the Fallen is sort of a pseudo rip-off of Dark Souls.
Pretty much.
But insanely short.
Well, good thing I bought it on super cheap during the sale. Because, I mean, I don't mind games doing their own take on the Dark Souls formula. I like the idea of developing a kind of Souls-like genre, like a roguelike sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for what I've seen of Lords of the Fallen, they're kind of taking everything about Dark Souls, now let's just kind of Call of Duty it.
Mm-hmm.
You're the big buff guy, we're fighting a bunch of giant guys in armor. It's Dark Souls 2 all over again.
Basically. Well, here's a question for you. If the Souls sort of games became its own genre, what do you think the name would be? Me personally, I think something along the lines of Crippling Brawler. It just cripples your mind by basically hitting the brick wall of every boss.
Brick wall RPG.
Brick wall RPG. So basically, old school RPG.
It is old school game design, just in a modern setting.
Mm-hmm.
Modern context, rather.
Yeah, like your System Shocks. Oh, you put half your points into this, and then you can't continue the game. Well done. Reroll. You actually bought System Shock too, didn't you? I thought I saw that.
Yes,
as well.
I did.
That is hard. I've actually tried to play that, and it's so hard.
I mean, I don't know how I'm going to get to playing half of these.
I have half a ton of games that I haven't even played just because of Dota. I just can't pull myself away. It's like, oh, do I want to play this, or do I want to play Civilization 5, or do I want to play this brand new game that I've just bought? No, let's go play Dota. It's an addiction. I need a Dota Anonymous now.
Yeah.
We'll arrange an intervention.
Yes, thank you.
I bought Grim Fandango Remastered, and I held the vote to have people vote on what game I bought during Steam I should play, and Scribblenauts was winning, and then someone vote bombed it, and Grim Fandango got 63 votes.
It's an amazing game. Like I had a discussion with you a couple of months ago, just saying how great a game it was. it is essentially Tim Schafer's baby.
Uh-huh.
It's an amazing game. Couple of plot holes, but essentially it is a Mayan noir. You can't exactly discuss it without spoiling the hell out of it. I know it's a really really old game, but if you've not played it, you should really buy the remastered, because trying to get the actual old game to work is like trying to get basically trying to play Kerbal Space Program with the keyboard upside down and you up to the front. It's a really difficult game to get running. So get the remastered and play it.
Oh, this was a definite impulse buy, but it looked interesting. This game, you must build a boat.
What?
Oh, I've heard of that one. It's like a point and click kind of thing.
Kind of, it's like a mix of a match 3 puzzle game, but as you're doing the puzzles, you have a character up above who's going through dungeons, exploring a world, and what you do in the match 3 affects what your character's doing. Or if anything, that's what it looked like. I haven't played it yet. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Does sound kind of interesting, that one. I might have been thinking of something else then. I can't remember what.
I'm trying to think. What else did Thorn buy? I might have to bring up my friends list just to find it.
I bought a shit ton of others. Gone Home, Grow Home. Similar names, completely different games.
Yeah.
Are homes involved?
At least one of them.
A certain sort of home, maybe, if you're lucky.
Bought a couple of Metal Slugs, bought a couple of Metro games.
Oh, Metro is also a pretty decent series. Depressing as all heck, but very good. Recommend, I've heard recommendations you play through it twice. Once with the pretty meh to bad British sort of English voiceovers, and another one with the actual Russian voiceovers, because the Russian is supposed to be absolutely amazing. It's a very, very atmospheric game.
Isn't that aren't they a Russian dev team?
It's either Russian or Ukrainian. I'm not too sure but they were picked up by Quicksilver between 2033 and Last Light.
It's about a few of the Saints Rows, but Civilization 5.
Good choice.
Because if I'm gonna ever attempt a strategy game, might as well be that.
Yeah, I have 500 hours in freaking Civ 5.
I don't want to think about how much time I have on Civ 5.
I have a combined something like 4,000 hours in Football Manager. Beat that.
4,000. I have a grand total in about all of my MMOs of about 6,800 hours across about 5 MMOs.
That makes me look like a casual then, doesn't it?
Let's see. Stanley Parable, fun game.
I'm back. No.
Welcome back. We put a pause on E3 till you got back.
I just sold one of my old junker cars for about $400. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Hey.
You need to get off because it was just sitting there taking Last Guardians, the game I'm looking forward to most, actually.
That's what we left off on, yeah.
If you consider my first game I LP'd was Shadow of the Colossus, so I clearly have much of a heart for the series. Plus, I always felt like this series has kind of a story in itself just coming out. Like there's an emotion resonance just for the game. If the game even comes out, it's a victory.
Yeah. It's been how many years?
2009 was when they first showed stuff for that game. So now it's 2015, and they finally have something coming up for it. And even though it's built around the PS3's model, it still looks really good. Like the feather textures on the creature look really good. The backgrounds look really cool. It doesn't have like the polish necessarily of a PS4 game, but the thing is, like, his series never had like high polish. It had more of a mosaic look anyway, so it doesn't hurt it at all.
Well, that, and we don't know if it's an alpha or a beta.
They didn't really talk about that much, but
yeah.
But I mean, I remember hearing about the fact that it's pretty much like mostly complete, is from what I heard. At this point, I feel like they're probably just, since they are making it for another console, they're probably going to add a little bit more polish to it, maybe work out some of the bugs that they're okay with on the PS3 version that now they can clean up.
Well, even then, Shadow of the Colossus looked amazing on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it still looks amazing and holds up, and that's why I'm really going to look forward to this game. I was hanging out with my friends, and I was doing a podcast of theirs where we're talking about E3 as well, and they both have kids, and they said that the only point in which their kid was interested in what was going on in E3 is when they were showing that, because they were worried about the creature's safety. And these kids are 2, 3, 4, And the fact that it like registers with children in that way just tells you kind of like the creature didn't, really make any like talk. They didn't describe anything in that, but it has enough emotional resonance to even affect people that age, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, it is a fluffy owl sort of rat thing. It's going to resonate with anyone if it's fluffy.
It looks both kind of fluffy and cute, but also kind of dangerous. Like it's like a dragon mixed with a puppy and a bird.
There used to be a giant monster chinchilla.
Actually, you're right, though. It does look a giant monster chinchilla. But the big question is...
At some point, it rolls into sand.
Big question is, will it survive till the end of the game?
I think they pretty much have said no. I mean, they've already said this creature is the last of its kind. So, I don't know.
That seems to be another modern thing with games. Oh, we increase a lovely little dog or a lovely fluffy animal that's going to come with you in an adventure and then get horribly killed. Tug at the heartstrings.
Hey, they almost pulled that in Shadow of the Colossus with aggro, and then they went, haha, he's still alive, bitches.
No, at the end of the game, Wander comes out and kills the big bird thing.
He would.
You're going down, motherfucker.
Wander, not aggro.
No, I want aggro just to drop down like Sephiroth.
I'm still here, bitches.
It's
Aggro.
aggro. Okay, I just read something about Uncharted 4 that made me laugh. In the trailer, we see Nathan meet up with his brother Sam, who was played by Troy Baker.
Yeah. We knew that already, but still.
Of fucking course it is.
Nolan North and Troy Baker in the same game.
Are there only those two doing male voices? Or male protagonist voices?
Hey, if I had even a drop of Troy Baker's talent juice, I'd be pretty set for life.
What happened to Steve Bloom? Is he like an alcoholic now or something?
He
Just
does
lying
things.
in the fucking gutter.
Bang! Glot, glot, glot.
It's like Nolan North and Troy Baker have sort of contracts for the entire gaming industries that only they can play male protagonists, and anyone with a British accent is automatically played as a villain. Hence why nearly everyone in Star Wars of the Old Republic who's an Empire has a British accent.
Well, they have the benefit of all the male protagonists in games being one type that they're perfectly suited for.
That's what I was about to say. Like, all of them are kind of built for Troy Baker, pretty much. Like, they're all kind of 30s, mid-30s, white, shaves occasionally, sort of gruff characters, so it all kind of works.
If it's lighthearted, it's going to be Nolan North. If it's kind of serious, it's Troy Baker.
Yeah, you'll never hear Troy Baker in like a light game at all.
I mean, come on. Nolan North did freaking the Deadpool game. Of course he's going to be playing the comedy characters.
He voiced Penguin, and that guy's got a little more of an elastic voice than Troy does, but Troy's got that just right tone for male protagonist. And he can sing!
One's serious and one's... Don't remind me of that. Troy Baker singing is just... That was funny.
I just want to hear more voice acting video game roles for Dave Fennoy, just because his voice is like beautiful dark chocolate on your ears.
Yeah.
He's the guy who played Lee in Walking Dead, and he's also the voice of Hulu. So when you're on Hulu, it's like, Hulu is brought to you by Scrambled Eggs. And you're just like, oh!
It's like, you want to buy Scrambled Eggs just because of the voice.
I'm allergic, but I still want them.
You see, it's end of the advert just cuts to someone in a chair, just having a heart attack, just going, scrambled eggs, ugh. And death.
I feel like with a voice like that, you could pretty much sell anything. Those Hulu is proud to present genocide. What? I must hear more.
Sign up for your free trial today of genocide.
You better look in the fine print because you'll end up paying for it later.
There's a couple of voice actors who I found have really good voices, but they're just not as well known. Like the guy who actually does like the male Imperial agent voice for Star Wars it's a really, really good voice. But from what I understand, this is the only sort of thing he's done, and it's a shame because really good voices just never really get used. It's always, is Nolan North available? No. Is Troy Baker available? Yes, we'll get him.
Well, we're
As
living
good
in
as
an
those
era
guys
now
are,
where like we're starting to move into an era where there's names can be attached to voice actors, and like one of the first names that like they're doing articles on Troy Baker now, where it's just like, is voice acting cool now and all that shit like that. So like it's kind of like when you put any major actor in a movie and put the name up front. At some point they're gonna just put Troy Baker in The Last of Us 2 or something like that.
We movies now. But, well, it would certainly make a difference from the standard, stern-looking man in the middle of a gameplay box art. Just have a picture of Troy Baker in Call of Duty.
It's funny. I don't like when you look at like it's really interesting to see the sociological effect of looking at different video game box artwork depending on what country you're going to, because some of them like in Japan are like gorgeous like scenery shots, but then you look at like the American one and they just stick this giant Yankee in the front, and that's considered okay, cool. We got our picture. I'm like, oh, didn't look as interesting.
Yeah, it's all sort of serious and grizzled and macho unless it's a light-hearted game.
Yeah. Viva Pinata has a picture of Booker DeWitt on it.
No, Pinata Booker DeWitt. Get it right.
Of course.
It's just
Pinata DeWitt.
It's just a pinata with bees for a hand.
Booker Dinata.
Or crows.
Booker de
Now
Pinata.
comes with free Elizabeth DLC. Quicker cash, there was another pinata.
Just throws a stick into her hand.
But then again, when it comes to the box art, you actually have to be careful because I don't know if any of you remember like what the Left 4 Dead 2 like sort of box art was when that came out. With the sort of like the seven hand with like the 2 sign, which is a kind of a peace symbol. Over in Britain, that basically had to be changed to the reverse side because the way it was actually put is actually it's a gestural insult over here, and probably in a lot of the Commonwealth.
It doesn't basically mean up yours.
Yeah, it does. It means up yours.
I just always remember it because from Hot Fuzz when Simon Pegg does that gesture and goes joggle. Like that, there's a good example of that kind of censorship even here. Do you guys remember the game God Hand?
Yes, I do.
Well, the original box art, it's a ridiculous Japanese game where you just go up and just beat up like Western people, robots, like all sorts of shit. But the original box art had a guy's giant fist punching through a guy's head. Like his mouth is open, the fist is going through his mouth and out the back of his head. And they went, yeah, we probably got to censor this.
It's a shame God Hand didn't actually sell very well. It was a really interesting concept for a game.
It wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good game. It was interesting, but it wasn't very good.
Well, the fact that you could build your own combos was kind of cool.
Yeah,
like you could
admittedly
build
that was
your own
really
combo.
Cool.
Which
I remember when I worked at GameStop. I had a friend of mine who just hang out all day at the GameStop playing God Hand on our PS2 there.
Just trying to get the highest combo possible.
Well, he beat it like 3 times, and that game's really hard, so I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, they reused the same sort of mechanic in Remember Me. You know that game? The really forgettable game?
It had so much potential, and it just used none of it.
I don't know if this is mean for me to say, but the French need to just stop making games. The French brought David Cage, so
I was about to say, is David Cage French? Is that where this is coming from?
Yes, he is.
Peter Molyneux.
If Peter Molyneux didn't make any games, we wouldn't have had Black and White and Fable and Dungeon Keeper as well. We'd have lost that and that. I would rather keep all of his shitty games if I could keep Dungeon Keeper.
In a very small blood way, I am related to Peter Molyneux.
Please tell me more. I'm not actually interested. In a very small blood way.
Well, if you look at historically, last names always came from in European descent. Were usually the names of the surnames, as they put them, were particularly for knights or people that had names of descriptions of what they did. So Molyneux, professions exactly, and the profession for Molyneux was those who guard bridges. And the fact that my last name is Molinex which was an offshoot of the Americanized version of Molyneux, which is like majority of my blood is French. And even I'll say no more French making video games.
You're a traitor to your own heritage.
I know.
C'est la vie, motherfucker.
Oh. Bullshit. Yeah, don't even get me started on David Cage games, because he's going to be coming out with a new one eventually, and I will protest it.
This is a disclaimer.
God.
We of the Scottish people in this podcast do not hate the French. Please don't come over the channel and kill us.
We're in America. You can't find us.
No, but two of us are in Scotland that can come and kill us.
I'm in
Bonjour.
Scotland. I'm in Manchester.
Oh, who cares? It's all conservative
do.
now.
I'm not conservative. I'll have you know I voted Labour.
I didn't. I was with the Yellow Tide.
Scotland didn't leave the Union, so you're still both British.
Yeah, but most of Scotland's now owned by Scottish nationalists, so
Yay.
we now have them by
And
the
the North
balls.
just secede from the South. Fuck it, just cut off everything below Sheffield.
If you say nothing of interest was lost, I'm going to kill you. I will come down to Manchester and find you.
So this is going to be an obvious question for a man from Manchester, and you've probably heard of it a million times. Have you ever met Carl Pilkington?
No, I haven't.
No, that's a shame.
Does he even live in Manchester?
I think he moved to London or something, but
I think
I
he
have
moved
no
to London
fucking
while
idea.
doing...
he's
I think he moved to
Manchester.
London while doing the... what do we call it? The Ricky Gervais show. Along with
Yeah.
Stephen Merchant.
Manchester's not a town. It's a big place.
It is a big fucking
Yeah,
city, yeah.
It's huge. It's got its own airport.
Yeah, it does.
That's actually where my family are getting on board a plane for their holidays next week.
Huzzah.
Being from Scotland, have you ever given anyone a Glasgow smile or Glasgow kiss?
I sort of did, but it was in combination of shoving basically Glasgow kissing a guy into a sort of chip wall when I was younger. Oh yeah, he jumped on my back and then started basically trying to direct me like a jockey from Left 4 Dead. I was an angry young child, so I wasn't having any of that shit.
Now that I've asked all my stereotypical questions, you may ask your stereotypical questions.
He's from Texas. Go and bring him out.
Yeah.
Is the
Lucky,
bathtub
I already
full of
had all my
moonshine?
Everyone had questions at once, one at a time, guys.
Let the Manchesterite go first.
Yeah, I was just asking, is the bathtub full of moonshine?
I feel like that's more Chicago.
That's true.
Fuck it, it's the
Rubbish
South.
now, nah.
It's just-
I wish it was. That'd be a hell of a weekend.
Chavis was found unconscious 3 days later, just in a bath of moonshine.
When he was asked for a statement, he would say,
Maybe we should have waited until he wasn't unconscious.
We had someone use him as a ventriloquist dummy.
This was ideal from Me News.
I was just a point, like, I like how, like, the only stereotype so far is, like, you got bathtubs full of moonshine. I like it.
I'm going to improve on that. When it comes to barbecuing, do you barbecue the steers or the queers first?
Touche, sir. You're waiting to say for that, and it's like, I'm going to tell the fucking Texan that.
I was waiting. I'm sorry.
Whichever's more tender at the time.
I'm going to mute my microphone. I'm going to have a laughing fit. That's my problem. I laugh more at my own jokes than other people's.
But yes, barbecue is delicious.
This is why I watch you a lot. I get games that I've never played that I can watch, and then I get to laugh my ass off.
It's like playing the game, just with weird people.
Yay.
This has been a great podcast. I've nearly finished my cider.
I could drink my beer, but I'm not going to drink it right now. Maybe tonight, but... So I watched a video about how it made me mad because there was a video that showed like they brought all these Australian people to America to try American liquor, and they gave them like the shittiest stuff, and it made me mad because it's like we have a million different breweries with like good beer. We're known for having a lot of good alcohol, whiskey, bourbon, but they're like, here's a Bud Light Lime, and I'm like, ugh. Like someone
goddamn
puked in a cup.
You guys have roots in German beers. You ought to be good at beers.
We're really good at beers. We have a really good brewery called St. Arnold's, made by monks. And yes, we have a lot of Hefeweizens and things like that. But for whatever reason, they're just like, try Four Loko. I'm like, that stuff is poison.
Well, alcohol is poison.
Delicious.
I always find it funny.
You just don't have much of a tolerance.
Alcohol is brewed by like monks. Aren't they supposed to be abstain from that stuff?
Well, no, it helps them meditate.
Well,
they're just like, oh,
I suppose
as they're passing out.
I suppose you got the communion wine and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. And kind of if it's brewed by monks, it's sort of sanctified, and means that you're, to put it lightly, you're wonderfully religious. More religious people can drink it without feeling sinful.
As for the whole crappy alcohol thing, that may be revenge for us letting you guys try Vegemite without telling you how you're meant to actually use Vegemite.
I've never, the thing is, I've seen Vegemite in stores, and I do jump to that sense like, you know what? I know nothing about it, so I'm not going to just try it on like a piece of toast and not know.
Spread it. You can spread it just thinly. It is not Nutella. It is not peanut butter. Do not treat it like that. You will regret it.
If it
I'll
overwhelms
find it
the thing
hilarious,
you're trying
though, so feel free.
If it overwhelms the thing you're trying to eat, you've done it wrong.
But see, like, I don't know, like, many things, like, I'd imagine Australia, where it's just like, ooh, let's try this American thing. I can't think of any, but I can correct you on ways to eat it.
Speaking of American foods, I went into, this was quite a while ago, it's like near the centre of Glasgow, and there's this store where it basically has imported a ton of just like American, like, chocolate and sweets and just breakfast cereals. Had a look at the pricing on some of it, and you know how you guys can get it probably for like a couple of dollars. Over here it was like you're looking at 20-30 quid a box for like some cereal.
Good.
Simply because of the imports. Yeah, it's in Glasgow.
Holy shit! What's wrong with Glasgow?
Do they have like a? Does Scotland have any kind of form of embargoes or anything like that?
Nope, but it's like we have to put value after tax on everything, and I'm not sure if it's higher here or higher there, but imports probably like Thor knows, considering he sent the doll over here.
Yeah.
How is the doll, by the way?
It's wonderful.
I'm so sorry we couldn't build it with catchphrases.
It's perfectly fine. It's up next to the rest of my ornaments above my computer, and I've still got the packaging because it's the cup that's next to my picture of next to my little statue of Crystal Maiden from Dota, and a ton of like ships next to it. So it's in fact the cup of the sea.
I'll put that on my business card.
Travis,
Molnix, the cup of the sea. What do you think you're doing there, urchin? Mind your own business.
Good. I'm going to arrest this stowaway and throw him overboard.
Still with the handcuffs.
I'll throw him out of the sea.
No, throw him. We're just going to drop kick him off. You're actually it's going to be Wei Shen, Cop of the Sea now. And that's the whole premise of Sleeping Dogs 2.
I would still buy that.
He's arrested everyone on land, and now he goes into the sea, and now he's like a cop of Atlantis.
Well, after Nightmare at North Point, anything can be possible.
I rewatched like all of Sleeping Dogs yesterday, and I still enjoy just watching it normally. It's the dumbest shit.
It was the fact that you had like the phrases pre-thought out. It's just like you got recycled. Just kills everyone at the same time. It's just those lines that you prepared for the animation kills were just. Though that is what sold me on that Let's Play. And then the one that you used for the sort of compilation, like you put the P, so you put the P in pain in the dead and diarrhea. That was side splitting. There is no dead and diarrhea. There is when I'm involved. The sad thing is that it's so memorable that I remember it now, even after not watching it for a couple of months.
I still remember the "I'll recycle you" line when you started off with the puns.
I had no idea that was going to kill him as bad as it did. Just because I just randomly pulled it out of my ass.
That's your thing.
It seems to work.
I mean, nothing will take over when you guys were Shatnerizing the death of Temple where you got the spinner. Can't remember the boss for that. The skull head thing.
Ah,
Star-Lord.
Yes.
Oh.
nobody's going to hit me. Ah.
I don't know why we went to
I love
Shatner
that-
Realm. I don't remember.
That was you.
Yeah.
That was you being you.
It started off as like, you were talking about psychology and stuff and philosophy, and then it turns into that. How did that even happen?
That's
An
pretty
all-round
common for us,
entertainment.
though. And we've pointed out many occasions where we start saying things that are actually kind of thought provoking, and then we went, we got to fix this.
Wait, this is turning into intelligent Let's Play. We can't have this. I still haven't thought of anything to use for all my bonuses yet. I'm sorry. I really should think of something. Like, I don't know how much of a backlog I've got for that. I mean, I have nearly everything to do for what I paid for you guys.
I think I still have some fan art to claim, but I don't know what to get.
It's like I've got the fan art, I've got the song, I've got the 4-part Let's Play, which I don't know how many parts it might be, considering how long I've been donating to you guys.
I think by this point we can just do the game.
To the entire game. I'll pick Star Wars.
I still
then.
need to pick. I still need to pick a game to Let's Play myself as well for that.
I even posted on Twitter the other night where I'm just thinking, what is a rare, not like the rare of the company, but a rare GameCube or Wii game that people would like me to play? I was even considering like Silent Hill, the one they released for the Wii. That was pretty good.
Mhm.
Considering Eternal Darkness, it's all sorts of stuff. I just want to do something different. Like a horror game would be different, or something really weird.
Different for us too.
You see, now you said that basically I could do the entire game. I'm considering, since I'm playing it right now, I could maybe sort of do Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then just like have like maybe something awful. Basically, vote on like which sort of class I play. Because like something like the Imperial Agent storyline is one of the best BioWare storylines I've ever played, and have like, because I know what the 3 endings are, like 3 or 4 endings are for Imperial Agents, or you could have like maybe a vote on like what ending you like people would like to see, but keep it like a minimal description so that they can't guess. I don't know. It's something for me to think about, really.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, but I mean, for a while I've been considering doing LPs of the Castlevania games that were on the DS and stuff, but just never happened. I've been playing it for like 3 years and just never got around to it. Mainly because I don't have any kind of capture software or anything.
It's
emulate
with
it,
Imperial. When it comes to stuff like this, like Imperial Agent is a sort of like it's a spy thriller essentially, whereas basically Smuggler would basically be more sort of this sort of Straw Hat style, because you can basically play the character as a complete smart arse, like a completely sarcastic asshole, who flirts with everyone, who basically just insults everyone, like every enemy appear, and gets in a ton of trouble.
So basically, Vice.
Basically,
and who is
Vice,
really,
yes.
really, really unhappy someone stole his ship.
Where's my ship? It's the entirety
I got
of the
it. It's
prelude.
mine.
Get off the island.
The smuggler storyline in a nutshell. Where's my ship?
Dude, where's my ship?
I'm just waiting for Vice to be like, I'm stuck in this island. Wait a minute, and turns the island into a ship.
Standing on it points. Go!
Use the skeleton as a navigator. What you mean turning? Into the wall, okay.
Yeah, he just makes a sort of pirate hat out of some leaves from one of the trees and puts it on the skeleton's head. It's like, you're my first mate now.
I only tolerate you because you're good.
Oh god, but that's not going to have some repercussions when that next part comes up. It's just going to have this sort of what we've said here is probably going to resonate in someone's mind. They're going to bring it up. I haven't actually played Skies of Arcadia, so I have no idea what's coming up. So it's actually more interesting to me.
Just the other day, Travis sent me like 4 parts. What's to do now?
Good. Good. Looking forward to
Yay.
it now.
Does Marco ever come back?
I'm not gonna spoil that.
Oh.
Considering this is
It's
considering this is going
too
out.
golden.
Considering this is
Just
going
need to
out on
come back
YouTube,
and
do
go,
you think it's
"Wah."
going to reveal it? Two, the Revenge Night.
I still didn't think that. I also didn't think that was gonna go over as well as it did.
It's such a stupid audio line.
Also send Thorn a link to where if you put the Skies of Arcadia Dreamcast disc into a CD player, it's like, hey, you need to put us back into a Dreamcast, and you can even hear a voice like, we want to do our jobs.
Why did you put us in the right console? Oh, you did. I'm gonna do it now.
Great.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Can't
Commit
play this on
Zach.
Dreamcast. Have you actually price checked how much the actual like CD of Skies of Arcadia is?
Wait,
Isn't it
what?
like sort of like the actual like sort of the sort of Dreamcast like sort of CD for it? Isn't it like $700 for one copy?
I don't think so. I know it's expensive because I think it's actually rarer than the GameCube version. I'm sure Amazon would be quite enlightening for that. I just saw a copy for $53 used.
Dear.
I do really want this Vice statue though. It's just buying the statues is so expensive. It's $200. I'm like, but it's so cool. Plus, every time I look at it, I just be like, "Good morning, Vice." He's like, "Morning."
Well, if it makes you feel better, there are people who have paid $500 for a Counter-Strike Global Offensive knife skin,
That's so dumb.
other than a
What?
$200 statue.
What?
Yeah,
Oh man,
Why?
I might have to try to buy as much Skies of Arcadia swag as I possibly can.
before it goes up in price.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the demand my Let's Play is putting on it. Yeah, sure.
Hell, not even just that, just the fact that eventually it's, there's only going to be a few left because they've either just been mistreated or destroyed.
Yeah. If you want to buy
Can you
Skies of
imagine just-
Arcadia Legends, it's $164. Wow.
$164.
Yep.
Jeez. I spent less on this office chair than I have in that game.
And I wouldn't have been able to play this game at all unless one of the people who watched TheStrawhatNO sent me the game. I thought that was pretty amazing.
What, the game? They actually sent you the GameCube version of the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
At some point, I brought up the fact that I don't remember where it might have been on a podcast or social media where I was just like, the one game I'd love to do a Let's Play for is Skies of Arcadia because it's my favorite game ever. Unfortunately, I sold my copy off and it's way too expensive, to consider throwing for a Let's Play. And he goes, I have a copy. I'll just give it to you. Like, dude.
I feel like that might have been the Arbiter's Grounds part in Twilight Princess. Because we were talking about music, and that was one of the things that came up.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that. Well, that's the next thing to rewatch now. As soon as you mention that, it's like, oh, I would have watched Twilight Princess again after I finished watching the rest of the QI series that I've got on YouTube.
I've been so bad at keeping up with QI.
Oh, it still has plenty. But when it comes to like stuff to rewatch, like all of your stuff, like your guys' stuff has been some of the things that I've just rewatched constantly just because I enjoy it every time.
Likewise.
If it's been a bad day, then that's what I'll turn on.
We appreciate that you enjoy our ridiculous stuff. Because it'll continue to be quite as ridiculous.
Heck, with the amount of money I'm giving you guys, it's gotta be good.
It better be good.
As soon as you release just a bad episode, you just start pistol whipping us.
It's like, well, that was not very good. Drop it by a penny.
Skyward Sword, the Lava Temple. You guys seemed rather pissy. I guess I'm taking $1 off. Oh no!
Pissy? Heck no.
Well, I wasn't pissy. Thorn was pissy, but
I was pissy.
You were mumbling number lava that time. Or was that Twilight Princess?
well, no, not that one. Not that one.
That was a later
It
dungeon.
was the first time we went to the lava. It was the first time we went to the Lava Temple, and Thorn just got in this really shitty mood all of a sudden, and was just like, "This sucks." I'm just like, dude.
Well, it's a crap temple, and the dogs were freaking out the entire time.
Isn't that what happens with nearly every game, though? It's really good, guys. It's really good. Alright, it's absolute shite.
Hey, you know what? But Sleeping Dogs has proven that wrong. Skies of Arcadia so far has proven that wrong.
Yeah, and you're the one playing it.
Well, this is true. The
Well,
ones
to
we
be fair,
noticed
you
it in
do-
are Bomberman, Skyward Sword, Ni no Kuni.
But you do seem to be enjoying playing the Harvest Moon stuff. I will admit that.
Those are holding up, yeah.
It's a lot more slow paced as well. Unless you're betting on the horse races, in which case you're just cheating your way to victory.
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't have put it in that way. It's their fault.
Well, if it's programmed in, I suppose that's the way. It's like the potion. It's like the potion stuff from Wind Waker. The entire economy for potions is fucked.
Yeah,
Or it's like in
blame your
Fallout 3
grandmother
when
for
you unlock the
everything.
ability to get. Yep, of course. She didn't give you a birthday gift, so I mean that works either way.
So instead of giving you a birthday gift, I'm just going to screw up the economy of post-Hyrule.
To be fair, it was already screwed up. We can find money on every surface of this land. You cut grass, here's some money.
Okay, she screwed it up worse. Hyrule was already screwed up economically.
I mean, to be fair, it's the entirety of Hyrule through every single dimension, through every single game, basically bases its entire economy system on putting small gems into breakable pots. Doesn't sound like a safe economy to
Did you
me.
ever see that? Did you ever see that video of Link trying to buy the shield and he was smashing up all those pots? It's a great video if you haven't seen it.
So you said that that's another 4 parts of Skies of Arcadia coming along. I'm assuming those will be like in the weekly things again.
It'll probably be catching up at the very least. And now that I'm
How
caught
far
up
are
in
you into
Last
that
of Us, I
game?
can report some of that too. Oh,
How far?
20, 25%, maybe 30.
It's a long game, man.
It's a long game. I'm not going to show I'm just fair warning everyone that I'm not going to show necessarily everything because I'm not going to video myself looking for all the discoveries or any of the grinding or any of the boring shit. Like it's mainly a story. I might show some of the cool side stuff you can do, like bounties and shit like that. But like watching me look for discoveries and grinding is rather boring.
Yeah, I think it is for every sort of game. Yeah, if it comes to stuff like grinding, if I want to do the sort of Star Wars Let's Play right now, it's probably the best time to do it since there's a 12 times experience boost. So I can essentially just do the class quests and only the class quests. Like maybe I might do like some of the planet stuff as well, because some of the planets things is interesting. Because if you play the other side, play a couple of other stories, like the actual antagonist of this thing will be the person you helped on the other side for the planet quest. That's kind of cool. But yeah, that'll be something to discuss at another time.
Only now I realize after I've sent Thorn those last 4 parts that the parts after that I have a lot of side shit to do.
Speaking of which, like, you want to get some recording done tonight?
Maybe a little later tonight. I haven't even had food at all today.
You should probably get something in you before you start starving.
I'm just starting to kind of go.
Next, you'll be a character in Survival Kids being abandoned by Adventure Dad.
Adventure Dad and his giant
Adventure
cruise ship for 2.
On the plus side, you meet a monkey. On the negative side, you lose almost everything.
You lose your family. What's the trade?
I would have traded him for the monkey anyway.
And, as the super secret ending, you get to turn into Vice. I get a monkey now.
Hey, the monkey.
I'm gonna call you Adventure Monkey.
Vice's dad really is an adventure dad, though.
More like Coward Dad.
Let's imagine Adventure Dad with like a big wax mustache. He's always kind of like got his leg propped up on stuff, and always has like this smirk as he's flying like a blimp into space.
It's more like M. Bison with a sort of bushy mustache and beard.
Just psycho crushers to travel across the map. Just flying sideways with a big psycho thunderbolt. Keep in mind, as cool as M. Bison is, keep in mind he probably learned his abilities from Athena, from King of Fighters, so he's actually rather lame. I was testing anyone's fighting game knowledge, and clearly no one has any. Let the box over now.
I'm not a fan of fighting games. Like, the only one I was decently good at was Soul Calibur.
Likewise.
Because that was not a combo game, it was a mind game.
I don't know. Astaroth's a pain in the ass. Who else was a pain in the ass?
Nightmare.
No, yeah, Nightmare. Nightmare was just a bitch to beat half the time. Because I normally
He's
played
brutal
as
if he gets
Sig-
kind of stuck in his rhythm.
Yeah. I normally played as Siegfried, mainly because I could just do so good with him.
Killick would just poke you constantly.
Yeah, that's the only guy I played. Forward triangle attack was always wonderful.
But the one where he just hits you like 3 times. Pop, pop, pop.
Yep. Another one who I really had a lot of problems with was Maxi. When he got into like a really sort of aggressive rhythm, you really just struggled to beat him. Unless you had like a really long range pull like Killick.
Voldo was kind of ridiculous when he got in his rhythm too.
But the problem with the good thing with Voldo is he actually required a lot of skill, mainly because a lot of his stuff was also done on the ground. Like if he was on the ground, you basically near enough couldn't hit him.
I liked playing as Yoshimitsu in the Soul Calibur 2, because I just jump on top of my sword like a pogo stick and just hop around the map.
Yeah.
I played
Link
Link
is good. He does the
Soul
sword,
Calibur too.
the sword spank that he does.
Yes, that's what I did with the Megaton hammer.
Yep.
It looks so silly.
That's not a sword spank. That's a freaking execution. Like, no, sit there while I just smack your ass. Bang, spine. That's not a Soul Calibur move. That's a Mortal Kombat move. That's a fatality. Is what that is. Link wins fatality. Hey, if they're getting Predator and they've got Jason Voorhees in there, Link could be next for all we know.
What about Shadow?
Chaos Control. No.
No, they just
If I
put
remember
Mario in there.
Well, see, as soon as he jumps in your head and just crushes your spine, it's a fatality. Fatality.
Or he sets you on fire.
Alternate fatality gets Yoshi to eat you, and you're just egged, but the blood comes out of it. So those eggs have got to be crammed.
You're basically imploded via egg. No, see, basically he turns you into an egg and then he throws you so you explode, and there's just fireworks around the fatality, so the game's celebrating your death. You lost! Woohoo!
Alright, what would Mario's three fighting styles be? We've got Boot Mario, Fire Mario, and what else?
Hammer Mario.
Hammer Mario, that would work.
Basically, do what they did in with all of his RPG games. Is either hammer, fire, or jumping.
Mm-hmm.
TheStrawhatNO, where only we can talk about putting Mario into Mortal Kombat.
Finish him!
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no! You broke my neck!
And whenever
they
someone
put
does a
Luigi in there.
Yes.
Since Luigi seems to have darker impulses.
And when you do a fatality, Ono basically does just when you're killing them.
He
Make it
falls
so
off the front of the screen.
Or he just sucks your entire body into that vacuum. Mario!
And then
Going to kill you now!
And then he does the animation where the animation that he plays if he picks up a key in Luigi's mansion, and just plays the little audio clip. Quite frankly, that is creepy as all about that animation.
Alright, I think I'm actually going to be calling it a day. My stomach is starting to go into black hole mode now.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of tired as well.
Yeah, I'm a little worn out.
Yep. Same.
It was good talking to you, folks.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Just...
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Cool.
It's a mutual agreement.
Technically, it's your house, so you are having us.
It's your house, but we pay to be in it.
we just kind of we're just what do you end up calling it? Freeloaders, basically. We're freeloaders in our house. We're freeloaders in our own house.
At least the rent's cheap.
For some of you.
Yeah, it's only a tenner a month for me.
And hopefully we'll continue to do entertaining bullshit.
Sidetrack bullshit.
Yeah, very heavily sidetracked bullshit.
What were we talking about again?
I think it was E3. How long ago was that? 7 hours ago?
Something like that.
Anyway, this E3 was shit. That's the end.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Last Guardians, can't wait to play it.